Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Masters of the Universe Tuesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman. And today I will be presenting you with the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Webstor. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here we have 30 points of articulation, a barcode. Then here on the top flap, Masterverse, and that cracky, scrolly background for packaging that we have come to associate with this line. So that means they'll be changing it soon. 6 and up, nice big window showcasing Webstor and his accessories, Masters of the Universe New Eternia Webstor, Mattel. On the bottom, that's how you put them together. And then we have small fine legalese print. Contents, one figure, accessories, symbols I'm not going to learn, assortment number, and a barcode. Also, MattelShop.com print. On this side, Webstor, Evil Master of Escape. And then on this side, some nice artwork depicting him in his more classic look. And on the back, Masters of the Universe New Eternia original designs inspired by classic concepts. Webstor, Evil Master of Escape. Many moons ago, when Castle Grayskull shattered into the seven winds, pieces of it fell into Webstor's web. Now, the devious trap master lies patiently in waiting on the Isle of Arcania. Arcania? Arcania. He knows that it's only a matter of time before another greedy adventurer wanders into his lair, seeking treasure or even the power of Grayskull itself. And then here we have some more artwork of him. And, well, I said that was classic. So, I guess that's classic too. He only really has kind of a classic look, doesn't he? Also available, each sold separately, subject to availability. Colors and decorations may vary. And it's the cross-sale Prince Adam Webstor, Skeletor, Horde Skeletor that is, and Clamp Champ. Mattel, empowering the next generation to play. There's that question mark. Recycle this stuff. That, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And here we have some handy dandy tweezers. And he does come with an extra set of hands, a left one and a right one. And here we have a fist. I don't think this is anything we haven't seen in the line before. Nice molded details and molded in color. And then the other hand is like a splayed open, almost claw hand on an in and out hinge. And the other one is in and out hinge as well. I forgot to say that. Then the other piece here in front of the figure is a handle. And it goes with the gun, which we'll get to in just a second as far as where it goes with the gun. Here's the gun. Nice throwback to the original figure with that color scheme. So that's pretty cool. Even the style of it kind of is a throwback to that original Webstor figure. So very neat. take a look at his last accessory, which is his grappling hook, and it doesn't really have very long cord on it. So there is that. You can pull it up a little bit. You could probably replace this with a longer one if you wanted to. And of course, the hook itself is articulated so it can fold down or fold out as such. And how all that, the gun, the handle, and all that works together is you take the gun and you take the handle, and the handle just plugs into the back of it. So I'm assuming, you know, it's like a grappling gun, and that's the... So what you can do with the gun is not that. I thought it would go there as well, but it won't. So the plug there goes there on this port, and you can see it's made that way, and there's a port on this piece, and it just goes on that peg, and then the hook goes in, and you can leave it like that, or you can spread it out and move it back a little bit more. And if you wanted to, you could probably wind that string up here on this post. So that's cool, and you can do it that way if you want. Of course, you guys know me, I'm gonna go for the more classic look, most likely. Now let's take a look at the figure himself, and I have to say he's pretty gruesome looking there on his face sculpt, very spider-eyed up here, and then that nice deco there on the mouth, nice deco on the eyes as well, and the teeth. And it's just very gruesome. He's kind of scary looking. Now, you know, for a kid, he's kind of scary looking. He's not all that scary looking to me, but anyway, that's beside the point. But very, very classic Webstor looking, and I'm really glad of that. Of course, this is new Eternia, so it's supposed to be. And of course, they added these 4 arms to it, so it's more like the way that he appeared on the Filmation show. At least with these arms, he had these extra arms, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be mistaken, but I do believe, you know, that always kind of made me mad that the figure didn't come with these, but the animation did him that way. And then here we have nice paint apps here on this piece, which is a separate piece that's glued into the harness. So, and while we're talking about the harness back here on the backpack, it does pull off, and you can put the hook in it old school if you wanted to. And I'm sure if you heated these up and you don't want these arms on here to give him that even more classic figure look, those can remove. So, and then, you know, the belt and loincloth, I'm sure that's not anything new. It does have a nice little dry brush on it though, all the way around, so that's cool. And then he's got these shin armors. I want to say we've seen these before, but I can't place it right off. Maybe Revelation Skeletor? But regardless, it appears to be molded in this colored plastic, and then this is nice kind of gunmetal paint app on it. Or I could be mistaken. It could be molded in this colored plastic, because I'm seeing some glittery looking stuff and some swirly twirly type in there. So it's really hard to tell. This might be the paint app, because there's some slop right here, and I can't tell if it just didn't go all the way up or if it's slop from the top. So anyway, I don't know. I don't believe these feet are new. I think we've seen these feet on new Eternia Skeletor. I think he had these feet. And so that's pretty cool. Now, as far as articulation goes, these arms, I really wish they'd have put another joint in them, you know, right here, or maybe right here, or both. But it does have a joint right here, so it can go back, it can go forward, and it's on a peg, so it does spin around, and that's the same for all 4 of those appendages. And they can go flat like that, like it's holding on to him. And then as far as his head articulation goes, it's on a dumbbell. He doesn't really look up, which sucks for a climbing dude. He looks down that far. He's got some chicken neck going on. He's got a little bit of waggle. He can do the full exorcist. At the shoulder, bends approximately 90 degrees out. 360 degree rotation. Cut here at the upper bicep for another 360 degree rotation. And then a double hinged pinless elbow. And it gives you that much bend. 360 degree rotation at the wrist on in and out hinge. And in and out hinge on this side as well. Cut where the chest and the abdomen meet. That gives him his hula. He can lean left and right. He can lean back that far and forward that far. Also rotates 360 degrees at that joint. Cut at the waist where he also rotates 360 degrees. At the hips, something new for this whole wave. As a matter of fact, it has a pull-down hinge similar to G.I. Joe Classified series. So up and down and up and down. So engage those hips in the down position. He will give you that much of the splits. So that's pretty cool. He will kick forward that far. A little better than 90 maybe. Back, probably about 4 steps maybe. Cut at the upper thigh for another 360 degree rotation. Double hinged pinless knee. So this line is starting to pull out all the stops. They get a butterfly joint in this shoulder. And then a ball joint at the waist cut. Man. But anyway, the knee gives you that much bend. And under this armor piece, there's a cut. You can't see it. It does rotate 360 degrees there at the boot cut. At the ankle, tilts down that far. Tilts up, wow, that far. And a forward-facing pin for rocker. I'll say it's forward-facing. It's not getting super tilt there, but it is getting tilty. Getting tilty with it. Now, this piece of the backpack, just the back of the backpack, it does remove, and it's not the easiest to get off. And you can see right here, it's got 2 little slots right here. And then on this part, it's got tabs, and you can see there's little tabs on the tabs so that it clicks into place. And you can see it's got a nice little cavity here. And if you want that more classic type look, you know, the hook or the grappling hook, it's a hook. It does go in there, and then there's a post here in that depression that pegs onto, and then you just kind of wrap the cord up, and it ain't the easiest thing to do to get all this back together. But once you do that, and because the hook does clip into place, and then you know the backpack clips back into place, or at least in theory that's what it does. So there we go, and you have that nice more classic look for it. And if you really wanted to be classic, you just fold the grappling hook out, because his original hook did not collapse down like that. And then that's about as far as it'll go down. And you can see there is a port here in the bottom of the pack too, so if you wanted to, you could try and put, you know, a longer string on it and see if you can make him go up it or just zip line down it or whatever, you know. So there's that. If you don't want to put the hook in the gun, you can put it in the backpack like that, and then the gun he just holds in his hand. And you can put the handle in his hand like this, or you can put the spare handle or the grappling handle, whatever you want to call this. You can put that in there. You can probably use it as a stock too, but it does rotate so he can hold it sideways or, you know, however, and he can hold it in both hands. So there is that. I'm not going to demonstrate that on here because this segment is probably long enough as it is. So there we go, my friends. A look at new Eternia Webstor and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons, and here we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse new Eternia Webstor with the new Eternia Too Bad and the new Eternia Clawful. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse new Eternia Webstor with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And our final Masterverse figure, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Masters of the Universe Masterverse new Eternia Webstor, I have to say this is a really good mix of the classic character with some new elements. And I think the figure looks really good. The face sculpt and paint on this are really, really good. I like the fact that his weapon isn't just a rifle. It can be a grappling gun or it can be a rifle. And, you know, I really like the fact that they put that together. I like the fact that you can set him up in a more classic look with the grappling hook in the backpack, like the original figure. And I like the addition of the extra arms coming out of the backpack. Although I wish they could have figured out a way to make them come out of his back rather than be part of the backpack. And that said, I do like the legs. I think they're a little limited. I think they could have used 2 more points of articulation on each leg. But that's just me. Everybody might not want their spider legs to move that much. Personally, I think it would have made it a much more dynamic and interesting figure had those extra points of articulation been added. But while we're wishing for things, I also wish that this line would get a butterfly hinge in the shoulders and a ball joint at the waist. And they've already added the drop down or pull down hinge in the hips, similar to what the G.I. Joe Classified series has. And I'm sure there's other lines out there. I'm just not familiar with articulation schemes on lines that I don't collect. So, you know, if I'm comparing it to G.I. Joe, and I know G.I. Joe probably isn't the first line to have those drop-down hinges. I know Action Force has them too. And I think eventually it's just going to be a standard point of articulation in figures. But then by this time I also figured that soft goods with wires in them would be a standard inclusion with off the rack, so to speak, figures these days. But it's not. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. This figure itself, again, I love this figure. I think he's great. You know, he's much more classic looking than anything else, with a few updates like the arms. But if I remember correctly, the Filmation version of Webstor also had some spider arms on his back or on his backpack. One or the other, I don't remember. It's been a number of years since I've seen it, and I may be remembering incorrectly, and he might not have had extra arms. But I do believe that he did, because I remember being disappointed when he finally appeared on the show after having the figure for a little while, and he didn't have those arms, and then he shows up on the show and he has those. And I understand that, you know, they're just trying to make the character a little more interesting on the show and not look like everybody else. But again, I'm glad they made that inclusion, and, you know, where you can make him classic, more classic, or less classic, however you want to really do it. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews, or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.